Okay. Hi, Ochiko. Hi, everyone. What's good?
Yeah, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone from different parts of the world. I'm happy to be here today.
Same
So my
here.
name is Ochiko. Um, my name is Ochiko Nujakpo. I'm a technical writer at GitHub, and yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy to walk you guys through the amazing session we have today. Back to you, Joe.
Okay. Thank you, Ochiko. Yeah. So today we're going to discuss faster development with GitHub Copilot. And my name is Joel Adewale. I'm a senior technical writer at GitHub. I hope you guys get the best out of this session. Okay. And yeah, say hi to our moderator, Andrea. All right, guys. Please, in the comment section, you can share your location. Let's know where you're from, and let's know what you would like to learn about GitHub Copilot today. Because we're going to take you through an interesting session, and I hope you guys get the best out of this session. So, today it's 11 a.m. Pacific time, and we're going to be discussing faster development with GitHub Copilot. We also have other upcoming sessions like manage your project with GitHub platform. And you can also check out the previous sessions on the Reactor Live Series YouTube channel. We've had various sessions come up before. And so if you're interested in checking them out, yeah, you get to do so. Also, you can check out the GitHub Challenge build. It is going to be ending on the 21st of this month. If you're able to complete this challenge, you receive a special and distinctive digital badge on your Microsoft Learn profile. So you can check that out too. So today, we have a lot to discuss about GitHub Copilot. We're going to understand how GitHub Copilot can help you code by offering autocomplete style suggestions. We will also learn the differences between GitHub Copilot Individual, Business, Enterprise. We'll discuss a lot of GitHub Copilot features. We will also learn how to configure GitHub Copilot, how to set up code spaces and install the GitHub Copilot extension. We're also going to write interesting prompts to generate suggestions using GitHub Copilot. And we're going to see how GitHub Copilot can improve your development workflow. So let's get started. First of all, what is GitHub Copilot? I know a lot of you might have used GitHub Copilot before. Some people might not have heard of it before, but I think we can go through our MS Learn module to learn more about that. So, GitHub Copilot is a service that provides you with an AI pair programmer that works with all the popular programming languages, and it can dramatically accelerate the overall developer productivity. So GitHub Copilot is an available extension on IDEs like VS Code, like Vim, JetBrains Suite, and a lot other. You can also use it on GitHub.com, like create code spaces for your GitHub repository, and you can use Copilot there. Yeah, Chooks, can you discuss some of the GitHub Copilot features for us?
All right, if you don't mind scrolling up a bit, Joe. Sorry, I meant down. So just like to the top of the page.
Okay.
All right, so just so everyone can follow along, I'll also ask you to drop the link to this learn module for you in chat. But yeah, this is the introduction to GitHub Copilot module, and it basically covers everything you need to know about GitHub Copilot. And we'll be jumping between this module and our slides just to highlight some features and some important points. But yeah, the goal of this is to just go through this like you would actually do it, and also have some interesting exercises along the way as we go. All right. If you don't mind scrolling down back. All right. So Joel has talked about some amazing things about Copilot. He's talked about what Copilot is, your pair programmer. But some features that Copilot has is also really amazing and can help you with your development. Our team is faster development with Copilot. But how do we develop faster with Copilot? All right, so Copilot has some features. The first one is it has like a chat GPT like experience in your editor. So which means like your IDE, that could be Visual Studio, could be JetBrains, it could be whatever IDE you're using that is supported by Copilot. We're going to look at a bunch of that later on. But one of the things that Copilot does is that chat GPT like experience where you can actually relate with an AI and actually put in some prompts and get some responses back. Copilot helps you do that. The other thing is that Copilot basically helps you with pull requests. And how it helps you with pull requests is that you can actually create things like pull request summaries. You can get more information about pull requests. You can explain a lot that's going on under your pull request, all on github.com. All right. And then Copilot can help you with answers. It can help you with answers about documentation for different kinds of things, be it entire code bases, more information on repos, information inside your IDE, everything that is context to Copilot, it can help you with documentation for. Copilot can also help you in the command line interface, basically helping you with some commands that you might not always remember, but you know what you really want to do, you know what you're trying to achieve. Copilot can help you with, reminding you about what those things are, also guiding you to the right commands that you need to actually achieve your goal. We also have GitHub Copilot Business, and this is more like a plan. And this is speaking more to organizations or smaller teams who want to, have access to Copilot and give access to their members or their teammates, or you want to collaborate through Copilot. This is where business comes in. This is where you can actually get Copilot Business. And then the final one is Copilot Enterprise. If you can scroll down a bit. All right, so Copilot Enterprise is basically more like a personalized Copilot for business. Basically just lets people to have access to more features, like pull request summaries. You're creating pull requests and you want to summarize what you're doing. This is very, very, this is a nitty-gritty thing for developers, because we always, naturally we don't want to always like type in exactly what our pull request does, especially when it's a lot of code that we're pushing at one time. Another thing that the Copilot Enterprise comes with is it comes with a doc set, which basically lets you search through an entire code base after indexing. So you can have a repo, you can index that repo, and then you can like ask Copilot anything about it. You can create different prompts based on that repo, and you can find as much information as you want about that as well. All right, back to you, Joe.
Great. Thanks for that, Ochiko. Yeah. So next, we want to understand how GitHub Copilot work. Which is definitely you don't want your code to just come from anywhere. You want it to be authentic, and for some privacy reasons, you don't want your secrets like API keys to be exposed. So how does GitHub Copilot actually work? So please, Ochiko, can you walk us through this?
All right, it's very exciting and very simple. So first thing first, we have our IDE, which is like our code editor on the left side. You can see it there. We have the screenshots attached for you. You have your code writing there as well. And so naturally, as a dev, you're just going about your day writing code. And Copilot, if installed, is probably working in the background for you. So Copilot takes your prompts, some of the codes that you have as suggestions, and then sends it into HTTPS as context. So all this data about the multiple tabs you have, the code you have around, everything in your IDE is sent to Copilot as context through a secure layer, which is HTTPS, and that is sent into a GitHub-owned Azure tenant, which houses a proxy service that helps to authenticate sanitize, and also do some sentimental analysis as well. So authentication just basically is Copilot checking if you have the ability, who are you, do you have access to actually using GitHub Copilot, and as much as any other data um, that is directly attached to making your whole service better. Also, GitHub Copilot can also sanitize and remove things like personal identifiable information, secrets, and the likes. And then finally, can do things like removing things that are against the community, abusive languages, and the likes as well. So all this is done, and it's done with OpenAI as the engine that is running everything. The OpenAI large language models, and then this language models filters all this information and trashes it basically. Takes the one that it needs, remove the one that it doesn't need to work, and the next thing that it does is that it basically sends that data back for you as a suggestion after doing all the thinking and all the processing for what you really want back into your editor. All right, back to you, Joe.
So now that we know how GitHub Copilot work, how does this affect or how does it impact developer productivity? And what is developer productivity? So Copilot, developer productivity simply means that developers don't need to do a lot again. They just need to do what's most important, which is maybe designing the product, brainstorming, doing most of the human work, and rather than writing repetitive codes, debugging or searching through various resources or documentations or finding vulnerabilities. So Copilot simply takes the large bulk of human work, like writing tests, writing repetitive code, learning commands or learning certain things, does that task for you and lets you focus on the other things that require human effort, like the designing, collaboration, iteration, and planning. So GitHub Copilot has got you. And then let's look at how to set up GitHub Copilot. So first of all, what is required? There are three major things that are required to use GitHub Copilot, which is one, your GitHub account, a GitHub Copilot license, which you can get for free or you can get it paid for. And then you need a supported IDE or GitHub code space to use it. So, Ochiko, please, can you walk us through the whole process of using GitHub Copilot?
All right. So basically, if you want to set up GitHub Copilot, Joel already mentioned the three things you need. You need the GitHub Copilot license. You need the GitHub Copilot. You need the IDE, the license, and then you need your the license, the IDE, and so you need to set up the GitHub account as well. So moving back to the screenshot that we have here, you can go to your settings on github.com, go to the Copilot tab, and then you would find the different IDE extensions at the top. So you have Visual Studio Code, you have JetBrains, you have Visual Studio, and then you have, which is the lighter version, and then you have Vim, or also called NeoVim. So these extensions can basically help you get Copilot into your IDE of your choice. And generally, you would see this page if you're under an organization that gives you access to Copilot, or if you have like a student pack and you have used that up, or if you haven't any of that, you would also need to like basically sign up for GitHub Copilot through this page. All right. So yeah, talking about the GitHub Copilot extension, this is one in VS Code. All you have to do is enable it and install it, and Copilot automatically start working, doing all the magic in your IDE. And in your IDE, the final thing you need to do, because we talked about authentication, you need to make sure that you're signed in. Basically, what GitHub Copilot does is that for every request, it authenticates like we saw in the flow. earlier. And so to authenticate, you need to sign in basically with your GitHub account. It also helps with things like checking things like your pull request or like your commits and the likes, everything related to both Git and GitHub. GitHub Copilot can help you with those as well, aside from just authenticating you through this sign up, through this signing that you need to do in your ID.
Oh, thanks for that. So now that we've known how to set up GitHub Copilot, how do we actually interact with GitHub Copilot? So there are various ways you can interact with Copilot in your IDEs. One is while you are coding, Copilot can actually suggest or autocomplete your code for you. So maybe fast forward to later in this session, we'll see how that works. You will see how Copilot can autocomplete your code for you. Also, GitHub Copilot adapts to your coding style. So it's going to see how you structure your functions, how you comment your code, and it's going to adapt to this coding style. So you can also use comments to interact with Copilot, and we also have a sophisticated user interface, which is called the Copilot chat, to interact with Copilot. So it's going to be like a ChatGPT environment inside your IDE where you can actually prompt Copilot. So I don't know if you have questions about this, you can always throw it out in the comment section and we're going to take your questions. Next up, we want to look at how GitHub Copilot makes your work faster by allowing you to automate the boring stuff. So take, for example, you are in a startup environment or you work for a startup. There's a lot of boring stuff that are going to be done. For instance, regular review, maybe PR. A lot of PRs are going to come in. A lot of changes are going to be made. So when you change like your code frequently, you want to do tests for these changes to ensure that there is no break in production. This is where GitHub Copilot comes in. Instead of writing tests continuously, GitHub Copilot can generate unit tests for your code. It can even generate documentation for your code. If you're creating APIs or you are exporting services to third parties, you can leverage Copilot to create documentation for this code. And you can use Copilot to refactor and optimize your code. So maybe you want to write a simple application, but from the initial logic you come up with, you're having close to like 500 lines of code. That's where GitHub Copilot comes in. It can help you refactor and optimize the code for better performance. Yeah, and GitHub Copilot can also help you with debugging and troubleshooting. So whenever you're stuck, maybe the code is not working, you can always prompt Copilot to help you debug and troubleshoot your code. So let's have Ochiko walk us through an exercise to see how Copilot works.
All right. Okay. So this is the GitHub Copilot workshop. You can find in those MSLM modules that we spoke about earlier. If you go through them, you would actually find some exercises in there that you could do. And if you also go through like the build that we shared earlier as well, along with the QRL, you could scan that or you could use the link. You'd find a bunch of MSLM modules with a bunch of exercises attached to them. You can follow those ones as well, but we'll probably be using this one as our showcase for today. All right, so this repo, you can find it on, you can find the link here. Actually be dropping the link in chat for you guys. And then you could just fork this. And once you fork it, you can basically start working on your exercise, either by using code spaces, which you can get through here, creating a code space. I occasionally like to use code spaces because it's a bit interactive and is a good place for you to learn. But today we're trying to get things to be real. A lot of you guys won't actually be using code spaces. You're probably going to be working off of your IDE, right? So And the best thing is to first of all clone this using the command git clone and then this link. So you clone this, and once you've cloned this, all you have to do is follow the steps here on the all you have to do is follow the steps to set this up. And as you can see from that, we have our core exercises in the core exercises.md. All right. All right. So now we're going to be running through our core exercises, and I'm going to be showing you guys what that looks like. I'm going to be sharing this just once, but we're going to be running through the exercise together. So the first thing first, we need to get our application running, and then we need to add some features into our node calculator. So yeah, a calculator is a very fun, very fun learning experience. A lot of people who started learning how to code back in the days probably, used a calculator as an example or a really small project that you were learning about. All right, so now let's jump into our IDE. I already got everything set up, already cloned the repo for myself. So you can do the same on your end and also go through this in your own time. All right. All right, so first thing first, we want to basically run our run your node calculator. So to run your node calculator, this is a React program. We're going to be using npm to run a lot of commands, running tests, basically running our application as well. So the first thing first, you have to run npm start to make sure that the application is running. So I can see that it's running on port 3000. So we can check our calculator on this page. I will consider our calculator. The render's fine, it's pretty beautiful. Not so flashy, but I guess it works. So you can actually try it. You can test this out. So we can do something easy like 3 times 3, which gives us 9. And you can do something more complex like 7 divided by 5, which would give you 1.4. All right, so this is a very basic calculator. This is just like version 1. But maybe we're going to be taking this to version 1.1. We're going to make it a bit better than it is by using Copilot to kind of develop that. All right. So back to our IDE, the first thing that we're going to be doing is adding a button. So the first thing we're going to be doing is adding a button to let us do raised to powers. So this is like 2 raised to power 2, which gives you 4, 2 raised to power 3, which gives you 8. Powers are just multiplying it the number of times for the number above it. So if I say 2 to the power of 3, then basically that is 8. So you multiply 2 3 times, or 4 to the power of 5, you multiply 4 5 times. So we're going to, normally we would have to write through this logic ourselves, but we're going to see how Copilot is going to do most of the work for us for something really simple as this. All right. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is to add the button, like I said. And so we're going to be using Copilot comments to add this button. All right, so we can basically go under the plus sign and add the comment here. And then we just let Copilot do the generation, the generating of the code for us. You can see there's a code suggestion already. All you have to do is click on tab to accept that suggestion and make sure you save that. All right, we can reload this. And we can see that we have raised to power. That's really amazing, right? That's giving us like yeah, what do you think, Joe?
That's so seamless. Like even somebody that has like almost zero experience in coding can actually use this. That's interesting.
Yeah, they say fake it till you make it, right? So yeah, so first thing, we already have like our power, raise to power button. Next thing, we want to actually make it functional, because right now it's not, right? So the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to go through our controller.js file. You can find that in the API folder, and then you can find the controller.js. A good practice is actually to open all the tabs you're working in actively, side by side, like I have here. That's one of the good practice to actually do when you're coding. So Copilot can actually, learn from all the open tabs and from all the context and give you the best suggestions that you would need. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is basically be adding an operator that actually makes this button work. All right. So we'll be scrolling down to this to-do part that I'm currently on. And then you can scroll in between there, and then we can just add our power. So just type in, I'm trying to add my power function operator. I will see that Copilot already, did most of the code for me. So I'm just going to accept that and save. All right, we are kind of in a hurry to go and use this, but there's one last thing that we probably need to do, which is, finalizing our operator for the different cases in the client.js. This is where we actually handle when the button is clicked before it actually comes in here to the operator to actually do the calculation. All right, so at this point, we want to add a new case, right? And so all you have to do is scroll down to any of these parts where you have our cases, and then just try to add like a new case. And you can give it like, let's say like the up symbol. All right, and then and you can see Copilot is already suggesting, like I said, most of the work for you. This looks like really something small, but when you're writing like a really large code base, you would find that it saves you a really large amount of time. All right, so since we're running a React app, most of the code is reloaded, dynamically as we keep on improving on it. All right, so let's go back to view our application. We can just reload it to be sure, and then we can try to do use this raise to power. All right, you can see that it's working really great, but we might probably also want to make this a little bit more beautiful. Copilot can help you do this, following along with your lines of thought, right? So the first thing we'll do is come back to our index.html. I think it makes a little bit of sense for us to actually make our equal to button a little bit more bigger, right? We want to make it longer because going back to our application, we find that this is a bit short and doesn't really look good. It feels like there's a lot of empty space here. So Copilot can actually help you do some of the styling as well. So at this point, all you have to do is basically highlight this code, and then you can right click, and then click on Copilot, and then click on inline chat, and then you can ask Copilot to basically make your button longer. So make the equal to button span the entirety of other buttons, right? And then you can click on that to go.
Oh, this is super cool because like so aside from like prompting Copilot using comments like you did initially when you wanted to create the button, like now you can actually select like a portion of your code base and still like prompt Copilot for that particular section. Now that's actually very user friendly.
Yeah, so we find out we don't actually have to leave all the context work to Copilot. Although it will learn and it will suggest code for you as you work, where you don't have to do much. We can actually let Copilot also know what exactly we're talking about. Um, so I'm going to also be showing you how to use Copilot chat. Right now we looked at inline chat, but let's also look at Copilot chat in general. All right. So all you have to do is click on the little Copilot button here on the down right of your IDE, and then click on Copilot chat, and this opens the Copilot window for you. All right. And then you can select that and ask Copilot to do the exact same thing we asked. Make, or you can ask it to style this button, style the equal button to span the entirety of the other buttons above. Or let's say the full length of as you can see that Copilot actually that was really quick. You can see that it actually picked the lines that I selected from 33 to 43, and it started doing the suggestion for me, right? So basically what GitHub Copilot is saying is that if I want to do that, we already have our equal to button having a separate class, which actually triggers the style. We can actually come here and get the style that we need and take that to our styles our CSS, right? All right. So all you have to do is basically come to CSS, scroll down to where you have the button, and then just add this below. All right. And reload. Just check this and save as well. All right. You can see that our equal to button is now spanning the entirety of this, and our calculator works perfectly with our new feature, which is the raise to power. So now you can actually call this anything you want. You can call this calculator.js 1.2, 1.1. The fact is, Copilot has helped us do a lot of development work and taking this simple calculator from one level to the next. So, all right. So I'll pass it back to Joe so we can look at a bit of how we can actually interact with Copilot, review some of the things that we've done in this exercise as well. Back to you, Joe.
Thanks for the demo. That was quite interesting. Like seeing the capability of Copilot. Like Copilot is quite smart, quite intelligent. So I don't think, I mean, a developer, even a beginner developer, should find his way around with the aid of Copilot. Like that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's look at best practices when using Copilot. So Copilot is intelligent, it's smart. Yes, we got that. But it's still AI and it still works based on user input. So I guess its intelligence is still based off of the kind of information we pass into it. So if we don't pass good information, if we don't pass clear enough information, then I don't think we're going to get the best results from Copilot. So there are certain best practices we might want to use when using Copilot. So for instance, we want to provide clear enough information. We want to set clear goals. So for instance, during the demo earlier, we wanted to add a button for the exponential sign power, and we explicitly told Copilot in a comment to add a button for that particular feature. Imagine telling Copilot to add a new button to our calculator. It might be confused. It doesn't know the kind of button or the kind of feature we want to add. So that's where clarity comes in. We want to give clear information. We want to set clear goals. Also provide detailed instruction. So provide enough context for the tasks we are assigning Copilot. So, and also another best practice is to give feedback. So whenever Copilot suggests a code for you, if it works, we give feedback that, oh, this works or this can be improved on. And if it doesn't work, we also give feedback so that it learns that it shouldn't give that kind of suggestion in that scenario next time. So, I mean, it's intelligent, but it keeps learning. It's a continual process for it. Do you understand? So also want to look at certain things we shouldn't do when using Copilot. So for instance, you don't want to rely blindly on Copilot. Yeah, it's smart. But if you just copy all its suggestion and dump it, you don't test it sufficiently, you might end up pushing non-functional code to production. Also, when using Copilot, you want to avoid passing maybe like private information or secrets to the AI, because all that other developers depend on the information that are put into it for suggestions. So although Copilot by default will remove certain like secret information, maybe like API keys, authentication keys, whatever, but it's best we try not to pass those kind of details into Copilot. Also, you don't want to expect perfect solution. It's continually learning, so it might be gradual. You might want to like prompt it multiple times. You might want to maybe update or revamp some of the code it suggests. But I don't think you want to have an expectation of perfection. That's just going to break your heart. So yeah, and also don't use it for unethical uses, because just like I said earlier, it's learning. So if you use it for unethical use cases, it learns the bad things, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want AI to turn against us in future. So yeah, let's use AI for the right thing. So yeah, in summary, I hope we understand how GitHub Copilot works. We understand what it is, and we've learned how to configure GitHub Copilot in our development environment. And hopefully, we can improve developer productivity by using best practices. So I don't know, if you want to learn more about GitHub Copilot, you can check our previous series, and yeah, you'll learn more about Copilot. So you can also continue learning. Also, don't forget the challenge. It's ending in about 3 days from now. You get a chance to receive a special digital badge on your Microsoft Learn profile. Thank you.
All right, just basically running through some of the questions. So yeah, the language that we're using for the showcase that we did was actually Node. So actually it was JavaScript, it was React, but it was running on like a Node package, which is npm. So also it doesn't mean that Copilot is it's only stuck on you using some certain languages. Copilot works for, has support for JavaScript, has support for Python, has support for C# and the likes. All your .NET and also your regular, very popular programming languages as well. And there's a bunch of settings that you could do for Copilot. And hopefully I can take some time to run through some of those things. But yeah, you can also go to, if you want to find more information, go to like the previous Reactor series. There was a Reactor series that I also gave, I think that was some months back, use Copilot. I dive really deep into how to do some troubleshooting if Copilot isn't working exactly like you want, how to do some work on actual testing, how to do some work on debugging, how to do some more context aware things using things like worker agents, using things like Copilot context, things that are more, let's say, native to your own code editor as well. And then also touched on a bit on like some of the things that we spoke about earlier in this session on what like GitHub Copilot Enterprise actually gives you. Things like pull request summaries, which is really, really cool. You should try that out on github.com. And other collaborative features that you would actually love going through it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would share my screen right now so you guys can see the actual exercise workshop that we went through just now. You can go through it yourself and take on other challenges as well. Like you can take on other challenges here, like the doing things like testing. You can add unit tests. You can add unit tests for your add extra unit tests for certain functions. And you can also even add like more functions. So feel free to actually visit this exercise, this workshop. Feel free to finish it up and enjoy yourself as you do it for sure. All
Great,
right.
great.
All right.
Thank you so much, Ochuko Joel. So really, thank you for sharing all the tips and tricks. So I think I have only one final question here in the chat because I saw this question coming a few times about if you have like a guidance or anything to try help people to understand how to create better prompts to interact with GitHub Copilot. And I don't know if you can share like your favorite tricks to try create a better prompts to share with the community today.
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's this MS Learn module on introduction to prompt engineering. So I think we can share that with the community. So definitely, if you take such a module, you'll learn how to prompt Copilot effectively. So yeah.
Thank you. Yes, please, everyone, check the YouTube chat. So we are going to share the link with the best press for prompt engineering. So the good is you can leverage to any AI generative you want with GitHub Copilot or Bing Chat if you want to create like some content. So I think it's a great stuff. So guys, thank you so much again, and we are so happy to have you with us today. And now I'm going to share here my screen. So bye bye, Joel or Chuko. So let me move here. So please, everyone, we have I think the very special moment because everyone wants to learn more about the vouchers to the certification. So I think the first point is we have an article on Tech Community with a free certification study plan. So you can just scan the QR code or go to aka.ms/info guide GitHub, where you are going to have the step-by-step to first schedule your exam certification and how to apply the voucher to get the discount to take the certification for free. And also we have all the Microsoft learning modules available to help you on your moment preparation to the exam, and also some additional study guides from GitHub. Move forward. Yeah, I think everyone is like on fire now waiting to the voucher. And I think one important point, so you will start the schedule, your certification on the GitHub website, and then you will move to PSI website to, to finish the process to try, buy your certification. And at the end of your process, you will see one field where you will be able to apply the voucher we are going to share today. And also, I think one important point is, if you are really, redeem a voucher last week or in the first week of the our series, you don't need to take a new voucher to schedule your certification, because we have only one voucher to each person by sessions we have. Like next week, we are going to have a new voucher to share with the people who will join us to learn more about managing projects with GitHub. Okay, and also we are going to share, the all the tips and tricks, and the links to schedule your certification here on the YouTube chat. Okay, so here is your favorite moment to take a note very quickly here with the voucher. Something really important: this voucher is available only to the first 500 respondents. This means if you are going to watch this session as an on-demand, like tonight or tomorrow, potentially this voucher will not be available, because exactly now we have more than 700 people watching the session here on Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. So please, we ask for you to understand that if you try, to redeem your certification and the voucher is not available, that's why we have only 500 codes available on this code here in my screen. And this offer will be going to end on June 27. And again, if you already have your voucher, you don't need to redeem a new voucher to apply to the same certification. And we also receive many questions about what is the best exam to start, etc. And our suggestion is to start with GitHub Foundations exam, because this is the priority exam to use our vouchers. You, of course, can try apply to the GitHub Actions certification as well, but we can't guarantee for you that voucher will works, with another certifications, because the priority exam is GitHub Foundations. Okay. So I think we are going to be here just for a few more seconds with the code. And our suggestion is to go now to the GitHub certification website to start, the process to redeem your voucher and schedule your certification soon as possible, to be able to leverage this opportunity, because this voucher will give you the 100% of discount. In other words, you are going to have the GitHub Foundations exam for free. So this is a great opportunity, and we are very happy to have the ability to partner with GitHub to share this opportunity with our community. So let me see here if we have a questions. Oh, we have many people from Brazil. So happy to see, because I'm Brazilian. So I want to see many Brazilians and people from Latam and all over the world joining our GitHub community here at Microsoft Reactor, and also having, the possibility to take the certification for free, because GitHub is a very important tool for any developer, independent of the language. If you code in JavaScript, Python, .NET. So I think this will going to be very great for your career. Let me see here in the chat. Also, please don't forget to connect with Joel and Ochuko on LinkedIn, because their contacts is available in your Microsoft Reactor registration page. So you can follow them, because they work creating many content inside GitHub. So I think this is also will be a great, stuff to learn more about the upcoming news on how, learn better about the GitHub platform, so it will be great as well. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel and give us as a like in this video to let us know you love to learn more about GitHub, because this for sure will give us more opportunities to come with more series and maybe move to something special for GitHub Actions, as we saw many people today discussing about GitHub Actions on YouTube chat. So, okay, I think we are done. So, thank you again, and see you all next week in our last session here on the Get Certified with GitHub. So, thank you so much, and see you next week.